So, Paul, what do you think? What makes a good storyteller?
Oh gosh, a good storyteller is someone who finds a unique story or something they believe to be a unique point of view on an old story and tells it truthfully and finds a way to finds a way to show us something that we haven't seen before and to make us feel something, perhaps in an unexpected way.
What made you say yes to David Simon? He wrote the story, the script for Show Me a Hero.
David Simon's an incredible writer, and I've really admired his work for so long, from The Wire on through Treme and in between. And so I have watched all his shows and I've admired his work so much. He takes really tough subjects and he takes an unflinching look at those tough subjects. And he loves the minutiae, the moment-to-moment drama that other writers would skip over, would just get to the big moments. And he finds the drama in sort of the interpersonal relationships in something that always surprises us. It always finds a way to enlighten as well, and so without preaching, which I like a lot.
Mm-hmm. And what project are you most proud of? Can you say that?
No,
Projects that you worked on?
I have a really hard time looking at my own films or my own television series. I love them, and I certainly love the work that the actors do in them. I'm proud of them, but it's very hard for me to watch them.
And you've written famous TV shows like The Facts of Life, 30-something, as well as movies. Which ones do you enjoy more? Like doing television for a long period of time or just working on a feature film?
The great thing about doing television, especially a television series, is you get to explore the characters over, many hours. And that's always fun because you get to twist them and show how they mutate. At the same time, so an ongoing series, the characters can't change that much because the dynamic has to stay the same. That the dynamic of the original conflict between the two protagonists has to remain the conflict through the entire series. So we have to find ways for them not to change. But of course, then people don't really change that much anyways. So we think they learn, we think we learn, and then we just don't learn. So that's not as hard as you think. But it is fun pushing those characters to the edge and continuing to test their boundaries. And you see that in some of the great television that's being done today. You just keep pushing them further and further and further. And you only have 2 hours to do that in a film, and sometimes it's very, very difficult to really test them and then retest them, and then and you want to push them as far as you can, but sometimes in a series you can push them further.
To create 100 hours of material for a long TV show, or just for a feature film, is a big difference for you?
It's very hard to say. You love whatever you're doing. I really enjoy whatever process I'm in. If I'm writing a feature, I'm so happy to be finding a story that intrigues me, that the characters are carrying me along, and it comes with its own frustrations, and its own delights and its own the agonies when the characters just don't get to where you want them to go, and you don't know why and how you failed. And digging into that and rewriting it and reworking it and re-exploring those characters. In a TV series, hopefully you get it right in the pilot, and so that you can then extrapolate from them, from those characters and keep twisting and turning them. They both have their, I love them both. I just like
them both.
Creating drama or comedy.
Mm-hmm. You once said in an interview for a series called Creative Sparks that style is overrated.
Style. We all love stylish films, but you have to have the substance first. You have to have a great story, and then, and that's the most important thing. And just to tell that story honestly. You know, if you can zing that camera around and tell that story in a really flashy way, which also serves the story, great. I love those kind of filmmakers. I love that they're visually they're exciting me at the same time as the story is exciting me. But if you fail, better fail on the style side. Don't fail on the content and the story side. You know, make sure your story is strong and that you're and well told. And sometimes zinging that camera around is just distracting. It's just the director saying, look at me, I'm the director. Then you failed.
You wrote Casino Royale in 6 weeks, you once told me?
Yeah, Casino Royale took me about 6 weeks for my first draft.
Third person, 2.5 years?
Yeah, third person, 2.5 years.
Why this difference? What is it?
Sometimes you find the story easier. In Casino Royale, I figured out what it was immediately, what the ending was, and that's everything. As soon as you figure out what the ending is, and I had a lot of help in that, and I had a lot of clues in the script that I was working from, and the original underlying material. So it's not like I just pulled it out of whole cloth. There's a lot of help in getting there, and I had great collaborators. So, but that just happened to click. Sometimes it clicks, and sometimes it doesn't, and there's just. I don't do anything different. Anything differently. It's just sometimes, and I don't know why. I wish I could figure out why it works sometimes and others. Because when it doesn't work, you know it, and you have to rewrite 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 it until it finally works.
Is it because, what do you think? You like, all the shit has to come out first, and you fill 100 pages?
No, it doesn't all have to come out. Casino Royale came up pretty much perfectly. I did a second draft, but I was really happy with the first, and there were two. And that just, I had a great character, obviously, in Bond. And I had a very clear idea what I wanted to do with it. And my producers had given me and my director had given me real clear marching orders, and I just could push those boundaries and really do that. I don't know, sometimes it's just...
Not that you got to be kissed by the muse or everything. It doesn't exist.
I wish that muse was around kissing me. It's like, God, it would make things so much easier than just struggling to tell a good story.
Where do you see the future of entertainment? Gaming, interactivity, VR, is it stuff that interests you?
I'm not the person to talk about the future of entertainment. That's some young hotshot who knows where things are going. We always need a good story. From the times that we scratched it into the walls of caves to now with VR and everything else we're dealing with, we do need a good story, and that's a cliche, but it's the truth. And you have to have something that moves you emotionally. Film is an emotional medium. Storytelling is an emotional medium. You better move them emotionally, and that's the hardest thing, to find new ways to do that, to tell the old stories and find fresh ways to fresh insights into areas that we think we already know everything about.
And what role does the soundtrack play in your work? Do you ever imagine a certain song while you're writing the script? Does this come up?
I almost never think of music when I'm writing. I let things take their time and their place. It's like I don't think of casting when I'm writing either. I like to write the project and then cast it, then figure out how I'm going to shoot it. And I like to do things in order. I think there's a reason for it. And if you get ahead of that, if you're thinking of the song or whatever, perhaps that's because your story isn't strong enough. And so you're going to try to fill it in with a song to make it work. The song will help you, the music will help you, but you shouldn't let that influence the writing at that point. You should figure out how to tell the story.
Now that you're teaching a seminar here in Berlin, what has been, up to now, the most surprising moment for you? When you watch young aspiring actors come?
Yeah, I love working with actors, and I love learning all the time from them. And there's that situation where you've got actors and they're just missing the scene, and how can I help them get there? And sometimes it's I often surprise myself, or they surprise me rather. And if I do something, like today I just moved a book from one place to the other, and knowing that the staging would change, knowing why I was doing it, but just a simple thing without giving any direction, and that changed the entire performance. So that's, when you do that, and when you find that So you don't have to use 1,000 words to tell them what to do. Sometimes it's just a whisper in an ear, sometimes it's picking up a prop, moving from here to here, and that'll change the performance. And you know, I have to keep learning that.
Great. Finally, may I name 3 things how an actor can convince you of his talent instantly, or what I asked you this morning, what's the difference between those great actors and maybe some other actors that are not superstars? I don't know, but
you know, great actors, they allow you in. You look into their eyes and you see so much. You see that moment, that you see that thought that shouldn't be there but is, and what the hell is that? And there's conflicting emotions, there's contradictions, and they allow you to see in there. And that they're very, very brave to be that vulnerable in that moment with all these cameras on and with all these people standing around, and they just reveal themselves through their eyes and through their pores, and we just sit back in awe at that. And that's the difference. They aren't acting. They've got the character, they've done the work, and they're just letting the character out through their skin and letting us in through their eyes.
beautiful.
Thank you.